You mentioned that your father gave you a camera when you were rather young, and what I was wondering is, when did you actually start like doing projects and becoming really invested in photography? And well, it's kind of two questions in one, but like, what project really was like a breakthrough for you that made you, you know, be able to continue doing it?
Yeah. Okay, so when I went on that road trip with my dad, I actually took the pictures really seriously for a 10-year-old. But it wasn't a project, right? It was just for fun. And luckily, I went to a high school that had a darkroom, so I was able to practice photography from a young age. But really, I feel like my first serious project was the one where I went to different tourist destinations around the world. The project's called Recreational Spaces. And in terms of my professional career, that was my breakthrough, because I hadn't really shown my work in galleries before that point. A lot of people do when they're young, like you guys could have art shows if you want to. There's galleries in Seja, or there's cafes where you can show your work, but I never did. I always kept it for myself. And like, so I was pretty old when I started showing my work. And it was, in a way, a good strategy, because I was out of nowhere. Like, out of nowhere, this young artist has this exhibition in a commercial gallery. And so it was a really good start for me to go from nothing to having a really professional show. So I would say it was that project.
All right, so typically when you go on these projects, do you prefer working like in isolation, like by yourself, or do you always bring someone with you, like your cinematographer, or is it kind of?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
I do prefer being on my own. And I have a studio assistant here in Montreal, so he helps me like in the darkroom and on computer installing exhibitions. And he's really, really disappointed that he never gets to come with me like, in the field and do the fun stuff. But the truth is, I find to really sort of focus on my subject, understand my subject, I need to be alone and concentrating. And I also find it's easier to meet people, like for example, people from, even though there's not always people in my pictures, but people from different communities, it's much easier to meet people and have a good conversation when you're on your own. So I prefer that. But having Terrell now as a collaborator has been a really nice balance to the time I spend alone. So just for example, when we did the Inno City project, I went up 12 days before him, and I was alone for 12 days, and then he joined me for 7 days of shooting. So it was a balance of the both.
From your project Meadow, what if your name didn't mean that? Would you have done something else, or a different project, or a different meaning of your photos?
Yeah, I think like the inspiration from that project really was my name. So had I not learned that, I don't think I would have gone on that expedition. I have no idea what I would have done. Definitely something, you know. If I have a block of time that I can use towards shooting, which is the most fun thing about being a photographer, I'll use it. But you can see that I don't go to a place, let's say to Iceland or Yukon, without some kind of inspiration. I don't like blindly say, I think I'm going to go to Africa this year. There has to be something that's bringing me there, and I'll call it a mission. So the mission to find my meadow or to follow in the footsteps of something. So if my name was an hour, no, I would never have done the meadow project.
When you take a picture, like, how do you know that it's the right picture?
You don't. You don't know it's the right picture. Part of working with reality, so I photograph things that exist in the world, and I just put my camera up in front of it. And it's the same with video and with photography, is that you know that there'll be an editing process coming after. So when I take the picture, I don't know if it's the right one, but I've made a decision that that subject, the thing that's in front of me, is interesting enough to have a photo taken of it. And then I go on the second step to make sure that I'm trying to photograph it in the best way possible. So that has to do, you know, so much of what, like, where do I put my legs of the tripod? How high do I climb to get an overview or so on? How close I get to my subject? So I only know that by sort of being there, seeing, trying. And later on, when I look at my negatives and stuff, a lot of things I did photograph, I don't end up using. So there's an editing process that goes on.
So you said that your love for rural photography started at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking, why not urban?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you feel about street photography? Do you think you'd ever take up that chapter anytime soon or in the future?
Yeah, I think there's a few reasons why I'm not really interested in the urban environment. It's because I find there's like too many things in the way. You know, I talked a lot about being able to see far, you know, and like so if trees annoy me, can you imagine buildings, you know? It's like, you don't get this like big perspective, like, or like, I at least don't get this sense of like, understanding where I am in the world. It's so much where you are in a city or where you are on that street block and so on. And also my inability or my problem where I don't connect with people that well through my camera is why probably I don't tend towards street photography. I really do like street photography, it's just, it's not for me and I don't think I'll be doing it.
Because
Yeah.
you spoke of architecture,
Yeah.
so you prefer much more ancient architecture?
Yeah, yeah. So stuff, when I say architecture, it can be anywhere from like prehistoric architecture, so the ruins that were in my video, to like, you know, like some houses in a village and so on, or that huge bridge that we saw in my Niagara Falls picture with the viewpoint, so that kind of architecture.
Right.
Yeah, not skyscrapers and
Out of all the places you've been to, out of all the people you've met, what is the biggest life lesson you've taken out of all your journeys?
Forgot to tell you it's gonna be hard.
That's tough. I hope this isn't too broad, but I think the most, and I'm really serious about this. I'm not just, you know, trying to pump you up to be adventurous. But I think the most important thing that I've learned is to open yourself up to the unknown. And so that means talk to someone who you would never normally talk to in your daily life. Walk somewhere where you have no idea where it's going to lead you. Take chances. And you'll have experiences that it will stay with you forever. And I'm somebody who's really highly organized in my daily life, and I really kind of hate surprises in my daily life. But getting away and traveling is one way to sort of break that routine and be confronted with the unknown. So I'd say it's really just to be totally open to whatever that's coming to you. And I have lots of like travel stories about failures and misadventures and so on. And I value all those things, terrible things that happen to me, as much as the really great things that happen to me when I was traveling.
Thanks.